All right, chat, as a reminder, these are always, for my opinion, my perspective of what I believe is good in the game, not just, or mostly from my rank, but sometimes if I think there's like a anomaly, hey, let's say like Penny, I will talk about when I get to that point why I might put it a little higher or a little lower, depending on which rank we're talking about. But overall, though, this is always my opinion. You're allowed your opinion too, but that doesn't mean you should be shitting your pants over it. Like, take a chill pill. All right, cool. That being said, first up, Captain America. I think Cap is still extremely good. Cap is, I think, slept on a little bit because he got big nerfs, and so a lot of people thought he's fallen off quite heavily, but I am not a believer in that. I think that in the right comps, especially ones where you run BP or Psylocke, it is the most terrorizing comp to run against in ranked, and literally it is a massive skill check to enemy team support lines. If you think the enemy team support line is shit, you team up with one dive DPS and play Captain America, and you make them absolutely hate themselves. Cap survivability is so shit now. It is shit in comparison to what it was before. It is not shit in general. It is absolutely still very, very, and I mean very, very good. Top tier? No. Still one of the best? Yes. Because you always have to think that there's going to be bans, and there's one or two tanks that always are pretty much considered for bans, especially like in high level play. And so thus, I'm going to put Cap in A. He doesn't work everywhere, but when he is actually used in the correct comps with bans, he is arguably one of the most oppressive tanks in the game, especially to enemy backlines, and has pretty heavy carry potential. You can also save your ult as a pseudo support ult. So if your supports kind of aren't the best with their ults, and you know they have a big DPS ult on the enemy team, you can actually save your Captain America ult as a defensive tool. And it is one of the only, if not the only tank in the game that can do that, outside of maybe Magneto on certain comps. So very good. Strange. I think Strange is also really, really, really good. I'm going to throw him also in the A tier. Not quite the S, because I'm thinking of a couple others for that S. Maybe even potentially S plus if we're getting a little crowded up there. But the reason why I think Strange is so good is he's just very durable. If you end up solo tanking, I would argue Strange feels better to solo tank now than Mag. Mag, even though is arguably, well, we'll get there when I get there, one of the best tanks the game has been in for a long time. The reason why I think Strange is slightly better at solo tanking these days is Mag, you have to make a decision when you bubble or when you shield. That is like a big resource you've just lost, right? And if you had to bubble a teammate, now you're really vulnerable. Strange, you just keep shield flicking, right? And so you have your whole shield, which is like 650 HP, and you can use your health bar as a resource. So like, let's say you're taking incoming damage, you take 200 damage to your shield, then put down your shield, take 300 damage to your health bar, put your shield back up, and then while you're taking, let's say another 250 damage to your shield, your supports are healing you, and so now you've regained about 200, 250 of your health back up, right? So now instead of being at what, you would have been at what, 400 HP, you're back up to around 600-ish, 650. You survive a lot longer, and so you get in and out. That's where that Strange's power is, that and the TP. Penny Parker. Okay, this was the biggest anomaly of all time. Ready? So do you understand that Penny is the highest win rate character in the game across all ranks, except for, I think, Plat and below, it's BP, and then it's number 2. But in Diamond and above, it is I think Celestial above, it is a 60% win rate. Is that insane? But here's the kicker. The pick rate is only like 2%. It's actually, I think it's less than that. It's really low. So when, admit you are wrong, do it. Ha! You're not gonna like this. Dude, everyone, people love to go, no, say you're wrong. The reason why it's that high is because the people that are really, really good at Penny are absolutely pushing it to the limit, and they are so talented on the character, and they know how to play it in the correct circumstances. And then there's like a bit of a gray area, right? Some people swap, some people don't, right? But those really, 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 really good players jack that win rate up so high. And because that pick rate is really, really low, you're not having games where people are picking Penny very often in a bad situation because they don't want to lose. And so these Penny players that are really, really good win a lot of their games because they know how to play Penny well. And a lot of people don't know how to deal with Penny because like they just don't play against good Pennies very often. You see one, once every 10 or 20 games? I think I could name the 5 good Penny players I know on the ladder. That being said, the character is still not good. And every time I've bumped into a Penny, pretty much don't have any fear of it. And they swap. Most of the ones I've played against this season have ended up swapping. There are certain maps though, like for example, the Venom map, the Venom push map, where it is extremely strong, right? And I believe those maps, getting big wins on those is what helps push the win rate up. But this is also a good example why you don't balance based on just win rates and loss rates, and sometimes there's a little bit of an art form in there as well. And for that, I have to give Penny respect for the insanely high win rates. However, I don't want a Penny on my team nine times out of 10. If I can pick any other character being on my team, if a Mag, an Emma, a Thing, a Venom, a Groot, actually not a Thor, we'll get there. Hulk, I'm taking him every day of the week. But she is really not good otherwise. Argument that she's very good on defense, but that's where the really good Penny players are not isolated. They can play Penny on attack or on defense. Argument flawed. Okay, how much Penny Parker was in any of the pro tournaments this past season? Because the data was off season 2.5, and the $3 million tournament was played on the 2.5 patch. How much Penny was played? I actually think Thor technically got as much playtime, if you don't count spawn room for armor. Because Thor actually at least got 1 point. Team played Thor on 1 point for 1 fight and died. No, that's not true. It's not 0%. Thor played on one map for 1 point. They got steamrolled and they immediately swapped. I think Penny, got 1 map as well, potentially. Hulk got a little bit of playtime. Not much, but a little bit in different parts. Regardless though, listen, Solaris played it once, Penny that is. That might have been the one time then. That might have been the one time. Unfortunately, that is just, it is what it is. I don't want to have a Penny on my team unless it's one of the 5 good Penny players. And of the 5 good Penny players, most of them understand that they have to swap if it's not going too well. But in the metal ranks, someone just said it, Penny's a permaban. Do you know that? Do you know Penny's like a permaban, like diamond and below? Maybe, well, after rank reset now, it's probably like gold and below technically, but well, I guess they don't have bans in bronze and silver, but yeah, Penny has basically been a permaban. No, she's not. I mean, you know, Black Panther was the highest win rate character in the game in diamond and below, right? So what do most metal rank players think is a great counter to dive? Just saying, it kind of matches up. That being said, Thing, arguably the biggest glow up of season 3 is the Thing. The Thing got a massive change where he can now leap to enemies. Holy shit. It is actually so fun. That being said though, a lot of you are overestimating the Thing. He is not an S tier. There's actually a lot of weaknesses this character still has, but he's really good at dealing with dive and really good at standing there and punching. But I'm telling you, I played a lot of Thing already this season because I wanted to make him work. The reason you're not probably winning games on your Thing is because you're kind of a support ult charge battery. You don't do enough damage to really be threatening, and you still get cooked by Emma. And so if their team hard focuses you, you probably die. The flyers are not taking over anymore. A lot of flyers have fallen out of meta now. So the big knockdown thing isn't really that applicable because you're not jumping into enemies because the flyers are not really there as much now. And the only one that is there is like Torch, and he's getting banned a lot. But you're just sitting there right-clicking their front line and you're charging their team's support ults much quicker. And your ult for Thing is really not that impactful compared to other tank ults. So he is very good, and he's actually very good at dealing with dive, but outside of dealing with dive, he falls apart. He's just extremely good at dealing with dive. I booted up the stream just to say my Thing always wins games. So are you already in Celestial? Because like it runs out of steam at some point. Because if you're winning every game, just keep queuing and you'll probably surpass me. But obviously there hits a point where you're not winning every single game anymore, you know? So it's situational is what you're saying? Kinda, but a lot of games people run dive now. So you could get away with it most games. That being said though, it's still not the best tank. Everyone screamed S tier. I was watching all three of the chats, people went S tier, S tier, S tier. And I just want you guys to get a little fact checked, pulled back a little bit and be like, hey, come back a little, come back to earth. Not S tier. I don't think he meant in games. Moving on. Emma. So Emma got a pretty significant nerf with season 3. That being said though, arguably still one of the best tanks in the game. Emma nerf didn't do nothing. I saw you say it didn't do anything, but the Emma nerf did do something, but she's still extremely good. Her ult is the only thing that's like, right? Diamond form is extremely good. The left click damage is really high. The stun is the big one. You think Emma's more B tier? I'm sorry, that is high as giraffe nuts. There are 2 tanks in the game that are arguably ban worthy, and this is one of them. Emma is Orisa. Yo, you did not need to do that to me today. Yo, why did you have such a good point? Stop that. Don't ever have such a good point again. Please, I'm begging you. Anyways, arguably second best tank in the game. Behind, maybe, who I think is potentially the best tank in the game. Bar none, my GOAT, Magneto. My GOAT, Magneto. Magneto is the only tank in the game that has this ability to stop support ults. Magneto is the only tank in the game that has the ability to stop every support ult in the game. Outside maybe Rocket ult, technically, but everyone can just shoot that, so it's like not the same thing. You can stop Luna ult, you can stop Cloak ult, you can stop Loki, who's gonna be copying one of them. Thor can with damage boost. Then you're committing damage boost. That's you at that point, then stun them out of it with Hulk. That is dumb. Magneto solo can do this on his own. And on top of that too, hitting the Thor ult with the damage boost is much more difficult than just bopping someone with a mag ult. So can Penny. Yes, 6 Penny mines. 6 Penny. That's why we don't play whataboutism around here, all right? We talk about one specific thing, and it's a consistent ability. You pop that mag ult, you go fear Magneto, bitch. LeBron, boom! And you lead someone, right? You can solo carry every game if you're a really good Magneto. You can stomp dive, you can bully their tanks, you can bully their supports, you can bully their DPS ults, you can stop Hela ult, you can stop Star-Lord ult, you can stop Iron Man ult, you can stop, who else? You could stop Punisher ult, you could stop Torch ult, you could stop Cloak ult, Luna ult, Mantis ult, Invis, Ultron, Groot, you could everyone, right? He's that guy. But he's a little boring sometimes. I'm gonna be honest, he's a little boring. It is what it is. Venom. Maybe a little crazy. I think Venom's overhyped a little. Venom got played a little bit during the MRC tournament stuff. I'm not big on him. I think he's actually easy to shut down. And I think I would maybe even put him a step lower with Thing being so good and Cap just being a better option and Emma being still so good. But I'm okay with this for now. I'm okay with like a wait and see B. You know what? No. He can get value. If I'm putting Penny in B, Venom also has to go in B. I have to. Yeah, okay. I'll explain my full justification in a couple minutes. Venom's just like a worse Cap right now. The only thing that you arguably can do is one-shot a lot of like 250 HP characters with the ult combo with a damage boost. If you're really good at that, wait, the right click, go into ult, hit it all at once. But outside of that, like, and you need a damage boost. Like, damage boost at that point, like, So I think this is fair. The last tank going in the S tier category is Groot. I want to make note that I wish I could put a line right here that this is like S minus and this is like normal S. Okay? Like these two I would say are better, but he absolutely has a place. Groot is still very good. Groot is still S tier? Absolutely. The thing that makes Groot less viable, obviously, is his walls being a little bit skinnier and a little bit not as threatening. So you have to be a little bit more conservative with them. I wouldn't say Groot is like a ban though. Like I wouldn't ban him. Like there's no point because Wolverine still exists. Now you might say, well, Flats, Wolverine got nerfed. We'll get to that when we get there. But definitely worth still playing a lot. And I've played a lot of Groot the last couple days. I mean, I went on a tear yesterday. I think yesterday I played like 12 games. I lost 1. And out of 11 out of those 12 games that I won, I think I played Groot in like 5 or 6 of them. And it was really, really good. Like very strong, like winning the games type character. Thor. I think Thor's the worst tank in the game at the moment. I am genuinely surprised that they did not give back his survivability that he previously had. That said, I thought why they hadn't was he probably was dominating in the metal ranks. Actually, yeah, you're a good point. You guys are saying D. Yeah, actually, I agree. I thought he would be dominating in those metal ranks, but he's not. I looked at all the win rates and stuff like that, and it didn't look like he was. Pick rate wasn't very high, and the win rate was about 50, give or take a little bit. I think it was like 51 or something like that. So he was good, but he wasn't dominating. That said, though, this also is like arguably the worst meta Thor could have asked for. Because hit scan, hard poke, and dive are really good. And Thor isn't good against either of those. So he's not tanky enough to his frontline, and he doesn't do enough burst damage to kill dive, and he can't dual hit scan at range. So you're like, what the f do you do? That said, I think if you buff Thor, you're creating a potentially spooky situation. I'm down though. Why not? Like, give the guy the time in the sun. I am still saying though, I still like the right click change. I still like the Thor Force getting back with the hammer. I think it feels fun. You can disagree all you want. I still like it a lot. Every time that I've gotten to play Thor, which granted hasn't been a whole lot because he just is kind of awful in ranked, but the few quick play games where I get to actually hop in and run around on him, being at like 2 hammers and then going, I want to go back awaken form again, hitting someone at range, boom, and then you get back up to 3 Thor Force is fun. I like it. I like it a lot. Thor is fun, but he isn't good. Fair. I think that's fair. I think he definitely needs some help though. But I also just don't know if you can really. I feel like if you buff his survivability, it's gonna go crazy. That's the thing I'm afraid of. I think that if you buff his survivability, he's gonna be insane. But he's so bad at the moment that it's like you can't not. You know? Thor needs a rework. Why though? After seeing the Jeff rework, I'm scared for more reworks, you know? I don't think Thor's kit is that bad. I just think that he doesn't have the tools that these guys have. So what do these all have? Shield / damage resistance. Shield, self bubble, ult that's like a survivability, eats and counters other ults. Walls and huge HP. A shield, hyper movement, shield, big shield on a button, CC, damage resistance, and a movement, high mobility, and an E that basically gives you a whole second life, and ult that also gives you a full second life. They all have huge survivability tools. He does not have a survivability tool. That's the big difference, right? So even that's why Penny's here. Like if Penny had a big survivability tool, Penny would probably be much higher, but she doesn't. Like that's why like when you climb higher in the ranks, you just headshot Penny a bunch of times and she falls over and dies. You know what I mean? All right, Hulk. I think Hulk's actually underrated this season. Dumb as it sounds, I think Hulk is underrated. I think Namor's really good, or pretty good. I think the Namor team up is pretty good. I think Hulk is really good versus dive, especially like, you know what's funny? I was playing Hulk the other day and I had some TikTok chatter that was shit talking me the entire time. It's like, what are you doing on Hulk? Why are you backlining? You don't know what you're doing. Meanwhile, our backline was dead perma to Psylocke BP. I started playing with them. They did not die again for like 2 rounds. That's how you play them sometimes. Is sometimes you play like defensive Hulk where you're constantly trying to peel for your backline, you're bubbling your backline, you're exiling one of the flankers, calling people over, 3-2-1ing them, and they're exploding, right? Hulk isn't always jumping in and punching things. Sometimes he's anti-dive, and that's how it is. Like, you don't always have to be W keying at the enemy team. When people learn that, I think they'll unlock an entire new way to play Hulk. But not everyone is able to see that just yet, so something like Thing might be easier. Also, Hulk's extremely difficult to play. Anti-dive equals brawl? That's just not true. Ready to get controversial? S tier. Before anyone says anything, BP has not gotten any changes to my knowledge other than bug fixes since season 2.5. That said, your first reaction is probably, well then how the f does he go from D tier to S tier? And I'll give you my reasoning. Number one, BP originally was underrated by everyone, myself included. Number two, it was flyer meta, so when everyone's flying around in the sky, the melee ground character is going to suffer a little bit more. Third, BP is not only just a giant skill check to especially support characters and support players, but it's not a hard skill check for them. It is a hard skill check on the support. It is an easy skill check for a DPS player. It is extremely simple. Not extremely simple. It is much simpler than people have previously alluded to hit 2 right clicks and 2 dashes on someone and just instantly delete a support character than it is for the support character to keep a certain cooldown, for example, like bubble for cloak, because like just the fade is typically not enough, and hold it and get way less value by not using all your buttons, right? By using all your abilities. BP also can get in and out pretty easily. So the way they typically play is they high up on like a platform or something somewhere, wait for the team to walk through, and then immediately try to delete someone on the back line. And then either, if they're rolling, they can go for their kick, go for a big play, try to keep rolling, or they just climb back out. They wall climb back up and they leave. That said, I don't think he deserves a nerf. And it's a really hard problem to solve because you can't just nerf every character in the game. That becomes somewhat of an issue. That has ways to be dealt with. You can't just say rework to everything. You can't just say nerf everything. But there is also a good point to be made. Because we're about to play in Twitch Rivals later today. And I want to say this with as much kindness as I can. I feel really bad for my teammates because a lot of them haven't played. They're like more casual streamers. They haven't played since like season 1.5, give or take. And they're coming back to the game right now and getting absolutely dumpstered by dive characters, and BP is one of those. And they literally cannot deal with it. They don't know how. And I feel bad. Don't get me wrong, they're playing against good players, but I think the average casual, like, tourist gamer who just comes in and out is already so far behind from season 1 compared to the rest of the pack who kept playing that you can't cater to them because they're so far behind. The game is left to them. Necro said he needs a visual trail so he can be tracked. I don't know if that would really do anything. Maybe, I mean, I'm down to try it. I'm down, like, sure, why not? Like, I'm not like against trying shit, but there's gonna be you know what, I'm gonna jump to him really quick. I'm gonna jump to Spidey. This character got decimated. I think Spidey is horrible. I'm gonna jump to him right now, just so we can continue the what I'm thinking. I've been playing a little Spidey, and you haven't seen, I play like quick play, and I was doing a lot of it during like the downtime of MRC, or like end of season because I didn't want to play ranked. I was already in Eternity at the time. I was like, I don't give a shit about ranked at the end of the season. I don't want to deal with this shit. I want to go play Spider-Man, run around, have a good time. And I was like, man, this is tough. Like, I'm struggling a little bit, but like I could deal with it. Then season 3 hit, and then the season 3 changes. Like, even with the Torch team up, which I feel like it ended up not being that good. Maybe I'm wrong on that. I don't know. Like, I didn't feel like it felt that good. I felt like you hit every button to do absolutely nothing. Like, you have to hard commit so much to get one kill, unless you're doing a pull off the map. Like, there's like the pull off the map strats. Like, that's it. Like, that's the only thing that's really powerful about Spidey is on the maps where they can fling you off the corner. You know what I mean? Like, if they can do the tech where they fly by and they pull you off the map, so much value, so much damage. If it doesn't have that, useless. And is it unfair to say the reason why he's in that state is because of how the community reacted to Spider-Man? And how people thought he was really, really OP? And maybe in a lot of ways he was. But he did have, there are ways to deal with it, right? There are ways. So do you not go BP and do the same thing to Black Panther now? So that people don't get upset, right? Or is there like a serious conversation that, one, you could give supports maybe more tools, and then it's kind of like you gotta swap. You know, you might have to swap type of deal. I don't know. I don't know the answer. He got buffed? Who, Spidey? No, Spidey didn't get buffed. I think he lost his team up anchor, so they gave the damage back that lost, but it was like technically like a percentage, like it was like 1 point less technically or something like that. Sue has 3 anti-dive skills. What are you saying? So remember the part where I just said maybe you have to swap? So like that would be a good example that if like they're playing, I don't know, Luna, and they can't hit their freeze, then they'd have to swap. That's the context of swapping. That's what I mean. So if you're playing something else and you're not doing well with it and the BP is destroying you, and I said you might have to either give tools to those supports so they can deal with it more, or swap, that's where the or swap comes in. Let's move on then. So Black Widow. Black Widow is statistically the worst character in the game, and it's not close. That being said, if you bump into a scary Black Widow, it is scary. But like the amount of mechanical skill, the amount of absolute power, the amount of raw talent that is required to get value out of this hero is so much higher and so much worse than every other character in the roster. If you put half of the time and effort you put into making Widow work onto Hela, you would get 10 times more value on Hela than you would on Widow. That's just unfortunately the truth. That doesn't make every Black Widow player terrible. That doesn't make every person who plays Black Widow in your games an instant thrower. That just means that they are going to have to work much harder and be much better of a player than someone who just turned their brain off and picked Hela. That means this character overall gets less value than others. It doesn't mean that they can't win, but statistically and practically, it is much worse. So you can't say, well, if you're just the best player in the world and you hit nothing but headshots, you're basically cheating. You're like a human cheat code. You have to put it in an S tier. Well, guess what? 99.99% of players are not a human cheat code. But if you were also a human cheat code on Hela, you'd probably get just as much, if not more value out of Hela anyways. Okay, next up, Hawkeye. Hawkeye, I think, has really heavy carry potential, but like on average, there's not really a big reason to pick this guy most of the time. Right now, like Punisher's really good, Hela's really good, Phoenix is really good, Torch is really good, Wolf is really good, BP is really good, Psylocke's really good. Like, if you want a one shot, if you want big damage, you go with some of the other hit scans or the other ones, and those are typically not banned. Hawkeye just doesn't have the same uptime consistently, but he's not bad. It's just you'd have to hit consistent full charged headshots or pretty consistent full charged headshots to be getting a lot of value. And also Hawkeye's pretty susceptible to dive, and a lot of the dive characters are still really good. Next up, Hela. I'd argue Hela is one of the best DPS in the game at the moment. I don't know if I want to go full S tier though. I'm leaning S tier, but I'm thinking, who are the permabans still? Okay, I think for the sake of the list, I'm gonna have to do it, but I will put Hela towards the back end of S, because you can pick Hela game in and game out and get lots of value. This is low, like this is like over here though. You get what I'm saying? It's like the low end of S, and I think it'll become more apparent as we get there. But Hela's just really good. Iron Fist. I think Iron Fist is not very good. He can get some value here and there, but like even like the really good Iron Fist players you bump into on the ladder are really not that scary anymore. Like you can deal with him. He doesn't do that much to the tanks anymore, but also like supports have a good way of surviving versus him as well. Unfortunately, just got really hard nerfed, maybe for the better, to be honest with you. But he's kind of pillow fist a little bit. Iron Man. I think Iron Man is in a little bit of a tough spot because a lot of the hit scan are really good. That said, I don't think Iron Man is bad. I think he's still like pretty damn good, but a lot of like the really high rank games, you're gonna get shot down a lot. But I think especially in your metal ranks, he probably gets a ton of value because you're not getting consistently headshot by a Phoenix or Hela or something like that. One of the most valuable things he brings though is his ult. The ult being able to stop a lot of support ults if there's no Magneto is really good. So if you're like an Iron Man player, just like you just permaban Magneto and you actually get a ton of value. I think he's still really good. Magic. So Magic's like a ladder demon. Magic's a really, really good ladder demon. I think Magic's technically like number 2 or number 3 win rate. I think so. Maybe it's like number 3. I think it's like 3rd highest win rate in Celestial above. Really good if you're a good Magic player. Unfortunately though, there's not that many good Magic players. So I think she can get good value. It's like a very big sleeper character. Where like, if you get a good Magic on your team, I'm happy, but you're almost never banning the character either, and you don't even think about it. Because she is kind of difficult to play. You gotta give credit. A little difficult. Gotta give credit to those people who are really, really good at her. But doesn't happen that often. Magic is DPS penny. Her OTPs are goated, but all the other DPS are better with less work. I would argue the DPS, dive DPS, sure. Except, well, maybe, honestly, Spidey and Magic are kind of similar in a lot of ways. Where you have to use, like, all your abilities, or most of your abilities, to go kill one person. The difference is, though, Magic will actually get the kill. Spidey will not. That's, like, the big difference. So, Moon Knight. So, I think Moon Knight's actually, like, a little better than people realize. Like, I think Moon Knight's been consistently, like, D tier, like, the last few seasons. But he's kind of grown on me a little. I don't know why. I don't know how to explain it to you. But I feel like he's actually been pretty decent in my games. I don't have a whole lot of input other than that, though. I think he just kind of gets a lot of spam damage on frontline tanks. And his ult isn't nearly as good as it used to be, but it's a nice area denial. And also, because Moon Knight's been out of meta for so long, I feel like players have forgot how to play against Moon Knight ult, and they just die. Like, they just stand it and die. I mean, I've done it. Okay, next, Namor. I think Namor's really good. I think Namor is, especially with Hulk, really good. Can cut through support ults with the damage boost. The Hulk team-up's really good. Helps with dive quite a bit. I don't know if I quite want to put him in S, because S is what I think is going to be like 2 or 3 other characters that are going to be on this list. And I think it's oversaturated already. Who is also going to be in that S tier is Psylocke. Psylocke, extremely good. If you actually somehow get Emma and Psylocke through your ban phase, Psylocke, Emma team up is crazy. Psylocke's really, really powerful, really, really strong. Arguably the best DPS, or one of the best DPS in the game. Not the best dive DPS, I'd say BP is better, but Psylocke isn't full dive. She's like a hybrid, you know what I mean? Where she's like kind of a dive DPS because she has so much mobility, but she can kind of poke too. So what she does really, really well is everything. And her ult's also really good still. Not as good as it used to be, but you know what's funny? I feel like people have forgotten that you should stand in the Psylocke ult with your teammates and like divide the damage up, and like people like run away and everyone plays every man for themselves, and then someone gets left in it and just gets annihilated. You know, like everyone leaves your supports in the ult, and like it starts with like 5 people in it, and then everybody runs, and it's the 2 supports playing patty cake, and then because everyone else leaves, the 2 that are playing patty cake lose the damage war because everyone else left. It's funny. Witch. I hate to break it to you, I'm really sorry. But Witch is really, really not good. She's a really good starter character, and like characters like this need to exist. You can't have characters that, like, every character in the game isn't supposed to be the superest, highest skill cap. You know, you need 9 million hours to play the game type characters. You need characters that are also more new player friendly. There's nothing wrong with that. If anything, you should encourage there to be maybe more of those in the future, just so people can play the game and actually enjoy playing the game and get into the game. But she's not very good. But the Strange team up, listen, I was so high on the Strange team up for a while, and I really, really wanted to see it succeed. But as more time went on, people realized how to play against it, and the burst wasn't as scary anymore. It is what it is. Squirrel Girl. Squirrel Girl, I think, is actually secretly pretty damn good. I'm gonna put Squirrel Girl over here, like top of C. Honestly, you know what? Nah, I'm gonna go crazy. I'm gonna put Squirrel in B. Bottom of B. I think Squirrel's actually really good. Hidden gem for sure. Really, really good against Groot. Sneaky good versus Emma. Can help with dive a little bit. Not really good against dive, but can help. Accessible, easy character. You know, you don't really need a ton of mechanical skill to play her. Her ult is actually like, people just don't shoot the damn ult. Yeah, honestly, I think Squirrel is low key, like sneaking her way up the ladder. It is kind of actually insane if you're not paying attention and you're not giving the Squirrel Girl her attention. Oof. Star-Lord. So Star-Lord, I think, is kind of in trouble. I think he's really not very good right now. The triple res team up is still a good comp, but he's lacking any power right now. There's no reason to really pick him. I'm actually half tempted to throw him in C. You know what? I'm gonna do it. He's the top of C. I'm gonna do it. Top of C. There's at least arguments to be made for these three. Ult kind of carries a little bit, good poke. The really good magic players are insanely good. Sleeper ladder pick. Niche situations, good against Groot, good against a couple of things. There's not a big reason to play Star-Lord over a couple other things. Just not his meta. And he's gotten hit with a couple sizable nerfs over time. And also triple res just isn't as strong. Got nerfed a bit. Storm. Storm is really still good. One of the better DPS, I'd say. Not quite broken, not quite S tier. But you could pick Storm most games and win a lot of them. You don't really get the Jeff team up very much, because Jeff's pretty bad. But Stormwell's still really strong. Still really, really good. Not much else to really say there. Just good as she was. Punisher. So Punisher got some pretty sizable nerfs in the last season. I would say Punisher's like top of A. Like really good. Really, 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 really good. But I'm holding off on S because I have at least one more character that I want to throw in S. And I want Hela to be the bottom of S. And I then, like, these two could be interchangeable. Like, Hela would be like bottom of S, top of A. Punisher would be like top of A, bottom of S. Does that make sense? Actually, technically, I guess I have two. Bucky. Bucky's also still really good. Yeah, probably about here. Bucky's really good against Groot. Can be pretty good against Mag. Helps deal with dive. Just still really strong. Good against Loki, especially with his ult. Hasn't changed much though. He's been just kind of good for a couple seasons, so I don't think I had to really say a whole lot more there. This is a big one. So Wolverine. Wolverine is still really good. He got nerfed really hard with a recent patch, but I don't think it's enough to really knock him out of the game. I think people are realizing he's not as strong. I saw the first like day or two, people were still banning him a lot. I think that might change though. I think people are starting to realize that BP is like almost a perma ban. Psylocke gets banned a lot. There's another one that's coming up here that's a perma ban every single game. And then there's an argument for like one or two of these tanks depending on what you got. So Wolf, I think, is no longer in the S anymore. That might change as the weeks go on. But this is a bit of a prediction because it's only been like 3 days. But I'm just off of the vibes alone right now and how my games have been. I don't think he's that good. Sorry, that's not true. I don't think he's as good. He was broken before and now he's like back to what he was before. Mr. Fantastic. I think this is a generous ranking. This is a generous ranking. Just doesn't have much going for him, at least in the games that I've seen right now. The only thing that's really annoying about him is his shift. You know, his shift is really strong, and I guess he can help with dive a little bit, but the amount, how good he is with like to help against dive is not worth the pick. At least in my experience. Now, that might not You might not feel the same way because it's an auto aim button with the E where you like jump to your teammates. So you don't have to worry about like hitting shots as much. And then also the left clicks are a little more forgiving because it's like a big swinging melee. It's not like click, click, one shot. It's like you can kind of be a little bit haywire with the shot or with the melee and still hit things. But yeah, I just can't put him very high. I don't know. I don't think he's that good right now, unfortunately. One of the other permabans, if not the other permaban, Torch. So Torch got some nerfs recently, and he's still perma every game. Every game, if you don't have a Torch player, you're banning it. He's scary as shit. I don't know what it is. This character went from being like horrendous on launch to getting a bunch of buffs, then people learned how to play him, and now he's like a permaban, even though I think he's arguably just as weak as when he was first released. Isn't that kind of crazy? I don't know. I can't play that guy. He's really hard. I think that the Torch players are very impressive. I think they're really good at the game. Yeah, if there's Torch specialists, like extremely good at Torch, oh boy. Get me out of that lobby. I want to go home. I don't want to be here anymore. Gamers rarely look up, but even in high rank games, people don't want to play against Torch. Also, he just farms damage, you know? He just does so much damage. I don't know. What makes him so good? The movement's really good. Like the shift movement's really, really good. Yeah, he can just nuke your backline randomly. You can nuke your backline. He farms your tanks. He can double right click, dash with F on somebody and just explode them. The ult is really strong. It's really good at holding space. With a snowflake, you basically don't even have to look at the guy, and he can just be getting tons of value on his own. And he requires a big commitment from someone, like a Hela commitment, requires a Luna commitment, requires a Mag commitment, whatever it might be. You have to commit all of these things to slow him down or stop him, you know? And that's just a lot. Last but not least, Phoenix, the newest addition. So I think Phoenix on launch, a lot of people were very surprised. Didn't seem as broken as she looked in the trailers and whatnot. But I still think Phoenix is arguably played every game or banned every game. I don't know if she's as good as Hela. I see her in more games than Hela. But the big thing that Phoenix brings is the ability to shut down Rocket. All the Rocket players get absolutely cooked if Phoenix exists. Instantly stops their ults. Instantly. I argue Phoenix is probably the #1 Rocket counter. And it's not close. Outside of that, with damage boost, her ult is better. But even with this ranking, I'm not totally confident in it. I think I could see a world where she slips down to a top of A. We'll see though. Last but not least, onto supports. So Adam is tough. Because I don't think Adam is necessarily bad, but he's just kind of fallen behind in a lot of ways. Like, triple res comp just isn't as good. He's good on control, but like you need full team coordination. And even with it, it's like not as great as like some other comps. This is for ranked, right? Like in like pro play, where you have that high coordination for res, it can be super valuable. But otherwise, you just kind of lose out on a lot of the heals that you need, you know? Soul Bond is still really, really strong, but hell, you just get a support ult instead. You know what I mean? It also forces you on triple res, and you might not want to be on triple res. And maybe it's a bit controversial, but I feel like Ultron is just kind of a better Adam at the moment. So if I'm going to run triple res, or sorry, triple support, I'm going to run Ultron, then I'm going to run Adam. Not that I want to run with Ultron, but if I had to pick one, I'd pick Ultron over Adam. And thus, that drops Adam lower. Cloak and Dagger. I might make people a little mad. I might ruffle some feathers. I'm throwing Cloak and Dagger in the S tier. Hey, listen. Last season, season 2.5, I think I put Cloak and Dagger in A tier, and I got flamed for it so hard. Everyone was like, "You're an idiot. You don't know what the f*** I'm talking about. Where the f*** this shit character in A tier. That character's like C tier at best. And then everyone figured it out. Huh, would you look at that? You want to know what it is? Mag. Mag is the big thing. If you're a Cloak and Dagger player, you should have anti-mag propaganda. Ban Magneto in every single one of your games and you will never lose. You will never lose a single game. It'll never happen. You'll win every game. If you're good. But ban Magneto every game if you're a Cloak and Dagger one trick. I just made your life 9 times easier. Congrats. And Iron Man? I guess and Iron Man too, but Iron Man's a little easier to deal with, at least in my opinion. Because if you go for your ult while in cloak form, the Iron Man has to time it for your last dash. Otherwise, you can kind of dodge it a little bit because of the travel time. You know? Just don't be too predictable. If that makes sense. Jeff, I'm sorry, little Jeffy. Jeff is horrible. You know, can I be honest with you for a half second? Just for like half a second. Like, for like just a teeny second. Why are people so obsessed with getting on people and trying to tell them they're wrong, even if they're not? Because I saw a lot of people, streamers, people talking about going into season 2.5. It's like, hey, like this Jeff thing might not be good. And then it came out and people were playing it for the first couple days and they're like, yeah, I mean, maybe it's not that good, but like, it's not bad either. It's not terrible. And I immediately see posts, comments, TikToks like, oh my God, all these people said Jeff is horrible. And they were wrong. They were all wrong. They're all always wrong. They're always so stupid. They know nothing. And then 2 weeks later, everyone figured out, yeah, you might be kind of shit. And they all went silent. Everyone was so ready, seething, drooling at the fact that they could say, oh my God, all those people that said that Jeff was bad, those streamers, those f***ing content creators, oh, they're so wrong. Ah, they're like scratching at the walls. And then when they ended up not being wrong, everyone just goes, yeah, off. And then just like immediately, like you don't see anything. And it's like, okay, man, sure. Saw way more posts about how bad he was, to be honest with you. Maybe. But I also saw lots of the ones where people were saying, oh my God, you're all overreacting. And all these people are telling you that he's bad, but he's not. You're just listening to streamers. Form your own opinion. I did my research. That's all the point I was trying to make. You know what I'm talking about if you've seen it before. Loki. Yeah, that's an easy yes. Loki's still arguably one of the best supports in the game. Bar none, not much has changed. There's not much for me to really say. Right? Still been there. Been there for a while. Let's move on. Luna Snow. Again, arguably the best. Actually, I'd say probably the best support in the game. If Magneto's not banned, Luna is the way to go. Magneto is banned. I actually think Cloak and Dagger might be better if Magneto is banned. If Magneto's not banned, though, Luna and Loki. Loki's the best support line in the game. It's been the best support line for a few seasons now. Eventually, we're all gonna figure it out, right? I feel like we figured it out a little bit, but like everyone always kind of goes, oh, like what about this character? Yeah, that character's good too, but like we're talking the best of the best. New skin's gonna make her beats here. Healing going down 80%. I have seen some extreme cope that people were like, oh, they didn't want to nerf Luna before putting out the skins. They'll nerf her next patch. Copium. Maybe they're right. Who knows? We'll see. Mantis. So Mantis got a pretty significant change to her heals. So she does more healing now to tanks. However, though, I don't think it made a huge impact. Well, actually, hold on. No, actually, hold on. I gotta do this. So I've okay. All right. I don't think it made a huge impact, but Mantis can operate more on her own now. So with Adam, she was always required to have an Adam. Now you don't really need an Adam to run Mantis, right? Like you can run Mantis to damage boost your Phoenix, your Hela. If you're a Widow one trick or like one of the Widow players on the ladder, maybe you know damage boost the Widow, having flashbacks. But Mantis ends up being really, really good at accelerating those other characters and being in triple support with Ultron, actually. You play triple support with Ultron as opposed to Adam. That said, though, I don't think it made a huge difference to her healing numbers. it doesn't feel that much more impactful. Like, you can't play like Luna Mantis. Like, you kind of get cooked a little bit. It's still kind of a triple support character, if that makes sense. Now, Rocket. So Rocket, I think statistically was top 4 or top 3 highest win rate character in the game last season. I think it was top 4. And it was, I think, the highest support statistically in the game. That said, I think the reign of Rocket is potentially coming to an end. And the reason why I think that is Phoenix. Phoenix hard stops Rocket. Hard stops him. You just save your Phoenix ult for Rocket ult every time, and you instantly kill it. You don't got to worry about all your teammates focusing it. You don't got to worry about anything. Instantly, it's dead. Rocket's other really useful quirks are his survivability with his dash and wall running and running around, and his ease of healing, being able to just right click from wherever and like don't have to worry about hitting like direct shots as often. The thing that made Rocket so much better was his change to his ultimate. The reason why Rocket shot up in usage and shot up in the rankings was his ultimate was so much more of a useful ult. It became a true defensive support ult. Phoenix kind of destroys it though. And because Phoenix is being played almost every single game, if you have a Rocket, you pretty much lose. Now, if Phoenix wasn't getting played every game, I could definitely see Rocket going back up to maybe a little A tier, potentially. But at the moment, this is more than a fair placement. Invis, I don't have a whole lot to say about. She's still solid, just kind of worse than Luna and Cloak, unfortunately. Ult doesn't last quite as long. She's better versus dive, which is nice. And they also got a buff to the left click, so they changed the way the left click works. So like they front loaded the healing. So like before it did like equal healing of going out, coming back. Now it does like way more on the first hit. So like you're shooting at like a DPS that's like on the flank or something, you don't have to hit like the forward shot and the return shot. You just hit them once and like you get a lot of the healing out of it, which is nice. But unfortunately just not better than the top 3. And Luna and Cloak occupy the same niche of like main support or like main healer, right? Like they're playing the big healing number characters. Invis is also in that category. But these two are just so much better at it that you don't really, a lot of times, have a reason to play Invis over these two, unless they're playing hard dive and you're just like getting rolled, right? This is like a backup, but still really good, just not as good as the other two. Last but not least, Ultron. So Ultron got a pretty sizable nerf, actually, with his shield reduction. Like he has less shields now. But I still think he's okay. I don't think he's like bad. As people thought he was gonna be. People thought like, oh my god, they nerfed him so hard, he's gonna be shit. He still works in triple support, but he still just plays the same way. You play DPS Ultron, and then when you get your ult, you just go ult with someone on their backline. You just go ult like one of their DPS or ult one of their supports, like Solo tries to go kill them. And that's it. That's how you play him. You can't play him in double support though. You have to play him in third DPS, or sorry, third support. And that's basically how you play him. He's basically Adam, but in the sky. You know, you didn't play Adam for heals. You don't play Ultron for heals. He's kind of like Torch. Yeah, it kind of is like Torch. He's like support Torch. He's like Torch, but you get to say to your teammates, guys, I'm playing support. You know, which is a different issue all on its own. But regardless, though, yeah, that actually didn't take as long as I thought it was going to be. I think it's a pretty good list. Any last second changes I want to make? I think this is probably good. Well, if you think if you're typing a bajillion things like do this and do that, make your own tier list. Because this tier list is supposed to be my take, my perspective. And everyone, you're allowed to make your own. You're allowed to have your own ideals on it, and that's totally fine. Also, if you skip to the end, yo, go the back. Go to the beginning. Go back. Yeah, I know you skipped to the end. You just wanted to see what the end looks like. There's no way you're going to get all the information off of just the pictures. Tier lists, unfortunately, do not show nuance, but it is one of the best ways to deliver information in a digestible manner to most players. So it's the best thing we've got, but there's a lot of nuance in between. Like certain characters are better at certain ranks than others, or only better in certain situations versus others. So you have to go back and watch. If you don't go back and watch, you're not gonna know. You might think, oh my god, I see Strange as an A, I'm gonna play Strange. Well, You play strange every game and you start losing. You might be like, what the f shot flats put him in A? Because you didn't watch. You didn't go back. Go back.